All right, another video here from the Brookings Arts Council. As always, my name is Shelby, and we're gonna do a little bit of 1-point perspective again today. So we've done our names before, we've done, I think, the aquarium before, that was 1-point perspective, and now we're gonna move in, and it's called, this one's kind of like some shooting shapes is what I'm gonna call it, so they look like they're coming from 1 point. So as far as supplies go today, I just have a piece of paper, I have a pencil, and an eraser, and then I do have my colored pencils. Feel free to use crayons, markers, paint, whatever your parents are okay with, as long as you don't make a big mess. And I do have a ruler today too, to make that kind of a little bit easier drawing those lines. If you have a straight edge, that's all you really need. So just another piece of paper or a cardboard box really even could work. I just had a ruler handy. So if you have that, that will make things a little easier as well. So for our shooting shapes today, we're really just going to start by drawing our point, which is referred to in the 1-point perspective. You have 1 point that you'll have everything radiate out from. So radiate means to come out from, to surround that spot. So I have mine just right in the middle of my piece of paper. You can see it's right there. And so from there, we're going to draw shapes all the way around. So it doesn't matter what kind of shapes. Circles are kind of difficult. If you do like pointed shapes, they're a little bit easier. So I'm going to do a couple triangles, different kinds of triangles in there, maybe a rectangle, a square, maybe another triangle over here. And so for right now, I'm going to stay with kind of keeping things really kind of close in there. We can add further out next. So the biggest thing with adding these points is making sure that you add the points of the objects that are closest to your point in the middle. You do their kind of lines first, because if you don't, you'll have to do quite a bit of erasing. So what I mean by that is, here, I'll draw one really close, super close in. So this triangle right here, I'm going to draw first. I'm going to draw these lines, and you're going to take this point here and connect it back to this point, and this point to this point, and this point you would connect back to, but it's behind the shape, so you don't want to draw through the shape, so you'll just start there. So that's where the straight edge comes in. I'll do one, and then I'll show it kind of up close for you, so you're able to see what I'm talking about. So like I said, those points, that's why circles are kind of difficult. You'll draw back to that point that we drew at the beginning, which is our 1 point. Okay, and so that's what we have for our 1-point perspective. So like this shape, it's coming out of this 1 point. So I did that one first. I didn't do this one first because it's going to intersect. The lines will go behind it a little bit. So I'll do that piece next, just to kind of show you what I mean. So again, just taking your shapes and drawing those lines back to, it's called a vanishing point, technically is the term, our 1 point that we drew in the middle. And again, we want to make sure that we're not going through another shape. So this one you can see a little bit better. So this one, it goes back to this point too, but that one's in the way. So you want to draw the middle ones first and then the outside ones so that it looks right, if that makes sense. I have no other better explanation for that. You don't want the lines to go through the object that you're trying to draw. You want it to be the ones that are in front to be there first. And so that means drawing your lines of the ones closest to the point first and then moving outward from there. So I'll do a couple more here and I'll show you. And so when it comes to coloring these, I think it's really important to think about color just in anything you do, just because it is something that I think is overlooked in a lot of ways. With the other video today, we talked about tints and shades, so I'll just reiterate some of that information. So a tint is adding white to a color. So say you have red and you add white to it, that would be considered a tint, and you'd get pink. So pink is a tint, like the shirt that I'm wearing. Another kind of cool one would be if you add white to black, and that would make gray. So gray would be considered a tint. A shade, you could think of like shadows. So a shadow is darker and kind of maybe subdued. And so to get a shade, you could add black. So I think that this one could be another interesting way to maybe have things, is using tints and shades and coloring in your shapes as they recede back into that vanishing point. Maybe they get lighter, and then the shape itself on the outside is dark, which kind of like a different kind of level, but like atmospheric perspective, which is a different kind of perspective than we're doing now. It's how perspective is viewed in the atmosphere. Things as they're further away are considered lighter and more subdued, so they'd be more gray. When they're closer, they're really vibrant and bright and pink, and you can see a lot of details. But further away, like that sculpture over there, it's kind of blurry, maybe kind of dark, and considered more gray, but it is considered lighter. So when you're filling in your shapes, if you fill in, here's my final one, you fill in that regular color, and then this, you could have it be getting lighter as it comes back to this point, or the other way around. It really doesn't matter to me. I just think that with anything, you should be thinking about color and maybe understanding it a little bit better, but how you choose to use it is up to you. As always, my name is Shelby, and that is what I have for you today. I will post a picture of my final kind of shooting shapes, as I'm calling it, up online with a supply list and kind of an overview for you. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. So I hope you enjoyed and thought that the lesson was interesting. If you have any questions, concerns, suggestions for future lessons, you can always reach out to the Brookings Arts Council through email or through Facebook. We're really responsive through there. But yeah, have a good night, and you'll see me next week.